Flock Nation, look. I understand. Look, I understand. I know we still looking for that one more receiver, but you can never. I mean, okay, listen to me. Corner is another position where you just can't never have enough. There is never too many corners out there, and I get it. Receiver is a kind of pushback type of an area, right? We want another receiver, but I'm not mad. I'm really not mad about adding another corner. Shout out to Kyle Fuller, now a Raven, coming back home. More on that right after this. All right, what is going on, good people? DJ here from Flock Nation Speaks. Shout out to Flock Nation. Shout out to the Ravens Flock. No full episode today, but I will be coming out with one coming up later on this week. I just wanted to quickly talk about this Kyle Fuller signing and how big. I mean, this is a big signing. Like, I know we've been waiting, we've been clamoring for that wide receiver. I get it. Trust me, trust and believe. I understand. I'm in the same way, right? I'm waiting on this Julio Jones signing. And then I got to think about it. I'm like, man, maybe it might be too late. And the reason I thought it was too late was because I'm sitting here thinking, man, they signed Sammy back in like March when they signed Sammy Watkins, right? When they signed Mike Wallace way back when, they signed him in like March, right? They signed him early. And it makes me think maybe they won't even go that direction. They might not even go, grizzled veteran direction at wide receiver. But now the positive is, right? Now we're starting to see they're still looking to sign players, right? So that's a good thing. That means wide receiver may not even be done, right? I came into today, I honestly came into like last week thinking, man, like the Ravens are probably done in free agency, right? I was like, man, they might be done in free agency, right? We might not get that wide receiver. We might have to really just rely on the guys that we have, and that's fine, right? But Kyle Fuller coming to the Ravens, I mean, it's big, right? I mean, let's just think about it, bro. 7-8 weeks ago, something like that, I was talking about the loss of Tavon Young, right? I was talking about the loss of Tavon Young and the confusion that was in my brain about the secondary, right? The state of the secondary, right? At that point, and given the new numbers that have been given out to some of the newer players, at that point, I was thinking Jimmy Smith is probably on his way out, and Tavon Young was already, he had already been released. So my thought process was, man, I thought you would keep one or two of those guys just for the depth of it. But now when I look at it, right, looking back a little bit more, seeing what they've done, seeing the moves that they've made, they haven't moved Chuck Clark yet. I feel like defensively they're looking to move Chuck Clark, but to add Kyle Fuller, I think is huge. Like, I think a lot of people feel like he's taking a step back, feel like dude had one iffy year. I feel like I ain't gonna necessarily say it was bad. He had one iffy year. I'm pretty sure he'll be fine, especially in this defense. I think how quickly we forget. Add him to Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, and I tell you, it's gonna be something special because he almost feels because I want to think. I'm pretty sure Kyle Fuller is a big dude. I have to look up his height right off, but like he almost feels that Jimmy Smith role, right? He's a younger, he's 6 foot. So I mean, he feels that Jimmy Smith role almost to a T in a way. And number one, he's more healthy, and number two, he's just one of those guys who he's made plays in the league before. He's established himself, and I think that's a big deal because I think with Jimmy Smith has always been a guy who I felt like was a beast. I still, like, to this day, Jimmy Smith gonna be one of the more underrated corners that I probably have seen since watching football. A guy who was literally a number one corner at one point, like literally, like I'm talking about shut down. Like you're not throwing on Jimmy Smith, right? And then he had the injury issues, and he had all those issues, and then like you watch over the last couple of years. Maybe not this last season because I think there was too many injuries for Jimmy to fill that role. But, 2019, 2020, probably back even to 2018, right? When Marlon Humphrey and especially Marcus Peters joined the scene, it was interesting to see because when Jimmy Smith got hurt, it seems like the defense tapered down a little bit. Jimmy Smith was such a huge piece. I think Kyle Fuller fits into that mold, right? I think he also kind of takes that Tavon Young role, again too, and a guy who's a little bit more healthier than Tavon Young. So I think that's huge. I think Kyle Fuller. I mean, this is a big signing, right? I still think they need to go get Julio Jones. If we gonna steal all of free agency, you might as well go grab Julio Jones. Still, I'm still firm in that. I'm still firm in that belief. But at the same time, for me, my biggest thing is like this adds much, so much more depth to, an already pretty deep depth chart when you think about it. The Ravens got a lot of corners, on the roster. They got just a lot of good secondary players, right? I mean, you look at it, you add Kyle Fuller to, like I said, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. That's huge. Like having Marcus Peters back is gonna be huge to begin with. I'm trying to think and see if there's anybody that I'm missing right off the top of my head. I know they got Kevin Seymour who got some good snaps in last year, and Robert Jackson. I think if you put those guys in the proper places, I think they'll be fine. But I think looking at the secondary, I mean, having Marcus Peters, you still got Chuck Clark, under contract at the moment. Let's see if they try to move him to try to bring somebody in possibly or something like that. I heard the Giants were potentially, they're potentially looking at a guy like that. So that could be a big deal, man. Like I think this defense is just getting better and better. And it's interesting to look, right? It's so interesting. Like the Ravens, as much as I think Ravens fans, right, the Flock Nation holds the Ravens to this standard, and we're like, well, where are the receivers, right? Where's the offensive threats? That's what we want. We want offense. But I think at the same time, at least defensively, the Ravens have always done a good job of showcasing, all right, this is what we need. And you know what, we gonna fix that, right? I mean, let's be honest. Like EDC has done a great job when it comes to this, right? Like Unique Ngakoue, he grabbed Unique Ngakoue on a pretty darn good trade when the Ravens need pass rush. Did it necessarily help? No, but I mean that's a proactive step, right? That's a proactive step that you got to take. And then Calais Campbell, after the Ravens got rushed all over by Derrick Henry, right after he ran all over him, they picked up Calais Campbell. They made sure that Brandon Williams was still there, and just picking up big guys to fill up the gaps to make sure that Derrick Henry couldn't run. And then that led to a pretty good playoff performance that next year. So defensively, and that's the thing. Like that's the thing about the Ravens, because they've always been running game and defense. When it comes to those two things, I'm not worried about the Ravens, and I'm not worried about the Ravens when it comes to passing game either. But I think sometimes like the Ravens find themselves relying way too much on the fact that they've always been a run first team with a good defense, right? And they still got to evolve with the rest of the league. They still got to find a way to get better with the rest of the league. Now, I will say, going back to the entire argument, defensively, this makes the Ravens that much better once again, right? I mean, I'm not worried about the Ravens not having a top 5 offense. That's the thing. I mean, a top 5 defense. I mean, they're gonna have a top 5 offense too. Let's be honest. But I'm not worried about the Ravens having a top 5 defense, right? I mean, even with the talent they had coming back, it was gonna be huge. And then you put Oweh out there. If Ajabo can come back this year, it's gonna be big. Kyle Hamilton getting some big snaps, and maybe even starting day one. I don't know, right? Pinning him up with Marcus Williams, like putting them together on the back end is going to be huge. Like two guys who going to go after the ball, something that we ain't had in a while. If they do keep Chuck Clark, he becomes almost like a versatile piece. He becomes like almost like a nickel linebacker if you do indeed keep Chuck Clark. I know he's asked for a trade. He probably will get it. I mean, EDC is pretty good about that, and let's see what comes up out of it. But then going back to it, Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, you add in Kyle Fuller. That's your starting 3 right there. And then I think seeing how the guys play. Robert Jackson was a little bit slow last season for my liking for the guys that he ended up playing, right? But I think in putting the proper positions with and with an off season in this scheme too, I think it could be huge for him, right? You just can't, and I think Mike McDonald going to do a pretty a better job at least of putting guys in the proper positions to do exactly what they need to do, right? I mean, just look at this defense. When you look at it, this could be the best defense in the NFL. I mean, like I said, Marcus Williams, Kyle Hamilton right on the back end. Then you put Marlon out there with Kyle Fuller, with Marcus Peters. You know what I'm saying? You put those guys out there like that's a lockdown style defense. You a PQ who can fly around everywhere, and a Jabo if he can't get back. And I mean, that's just to name a few. right? That's just to name a few. Let's say Derek Wolfe does get back this season. I think it's going to be huge, right? You got Justin Metabike, who's shown some huge potential. Michael Pierce is back, right? To fill in on the inside. That's another guy who's back. Calais Campbell, of course. Let's see what they do with Justin Houston. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring Justin Houston back as a veteran guy to be in there. I'm always big on getting those veteran guys and putting them in spots where they can be successful. And I think it could be huge to have Justin Houston in some of these situations, especially with not knowing the status of Ajabo, right? You don't know his status. And then you got Tyus Bowser too, who I think is going to be kind of overlooked a little bit too, coming in, especially coming off of that. What did he do? Was it ACL or Achilles? It was one of the two, man. He's going to be a late bloomer coming back into the fold. I think this defense got tremendously better. I think the Ravens defense has gotten so much better considering, when you think about it, this defense is going to be good, right? They're going to be back at it like they were before, right? And it seems like they're tooling, at least, trying to grab as many secondary plays as they can. It seems like they're tooling to battle the Bengals. That was the biggest, out of all the games that the Ravens played last year. I mean, the Ravens, let's be honest, guys. Like, the Ravens played with everybody, right? They were right there, within striking distance of beating both the Rams, who won the Super Bowl championship, and then the Packers, who were Super Bowl contenders. They were right there with them, right? With guys who weren't even supposed to be on the field as much as they were on the field. They were right there with those top teams in the NFC. And then they had some. I mean, even the last 6 games, they had some good stretches, just couldn't finish the game. Against the Steelers, right? They had some good games. I mean, of course, they played well against the Browns, right? It was just the Bengals. The Bengals were the only team that was really giving the Ravens fits in terms of just absolutely decimating an already decimated team. So, with that being said, I think that adding this secondary is to make sure that, number one, you're good for the Bengals. But here's the thing. This is the good part about this version of the evolution of the Ravens, right? This is the good part about that. Think about it. Back when you were, trying to defend Derrick Henry, right? You bringing in all these big bodies, you lose, you almost lose pass rush a little bit, right? Because you're getting guys who are older, who are gonna, slide off blocks on the inside, not necessarily guys who are gonna chase you down from the outside, right? So now the Ravens are not only getting younger on the defensive end, but they're also preparing for the pass, right? They're preparing to make sure that they got the guys in the right places to prepare for the pass. There was a lot of also, even when the Ravens were quote unquote healthy last season, there was a lot of miscommunication between guys like Chuck Clark and Marlon Humphrey, right? Miscommunication on the back end, especially with Chuck Clark. And Deshaun Elliott had his fair share too. I like Joker, love Joker a lot. Think for a guy who had to step in, considering when he had to step in and take the place of Earl Thomas, who we expected to be like an absolute beast for the Ravens organization, and it just didn't turn out that way. This is a guy I got so much freaking respect for Deshaun Elliott. I got so much respect for him after injury plagued seasons too, early in his career, to come back and do what he got to do. He deserves, every little bit of credit you can give him. But I think at the same time, for whatever reason, right? At the same time, for whatever reason, my thing is with him, right? My thing is with him, dude. At the end of the day, there was some miscommunication. And I think to add in Marcus Williams, to add in, Kyle Hamilton, to get your veteran guys back, right? You're going to get Marlon Humphrey back, and he's going to be playing in a position to where he ain't going to be in this just ridiculous position, right? He ain't going to be in this ridiculous, what the heck is this? Who are these guys around me? I don't have the trust in the guys on the back end. I don't have the trust in the corners on the other side, right? I feel like I got to play everywhere, right? He ain't going to have that issue anymore. So that's going to be huge for the Ravens, and then, to have that a little bit better communication. And of course, to have, now that we got Patrick Queen put in a position to where he actually should be, that's going to be huge too. I think I think it's setting up for the Ravens to have a really good defense. I think it's setting up for the Ravens to get back to the top 5 defense, maybe even best defense in the league. And now, like we talked about before, the offense got to catch up a little bit. But I think at the same time, the good part about it is, number one, the offense is going to be a top 5 offense anyway. Worst come to worst, they're going to be top 5 rushing, right? If they don't evolve at all. But at the same time, I think they showed some wrinkles last year to where we're going to see, okay, this offense, there's a lot more to it than I think people really, really, truly understand. There's a lot more to it than the injury played offense that we saw last year that was 8-3 at one point in the season and the top seed in the AFC and the top seed in the AFC North, right? Like before the worst of the injury bug came and hit them, and that was on defense and that was on offense too. So to have the depth that they have, coming out, that's the thing. They got this big depth piece now, right? There's so much depth going on, with these guys, right? There's so much depth going on with these guys, and now they got so many more pieces to add to the fold, and it's just gonna get better and better. And I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for that offensive move. I'm waiting for that Julio Jones signing because Jarvis got taken away from us. Then going it, he did, but I'm waiting, bro. I'm waiting for that Julio Jones signing. But I think for real, back to the topic at hand, and I'm sign off. I think for real, Kyle Fuller adds a lot to this team. A secondary that's already good as is, and then you add in a guy like Kyle Fuller, and you got other guys who can fill in the gaps when they need to. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. This team's gonna be good. I wouldn't be surprised if they add in maybe another vet. To kind of just have a lot more trust. At the fourth string corner position, but I think this defense is gonna be top 5, not top 5, not 5, right? No, but I think for real, this defense is gonna be really good. I think they're gonna be top 5, and I think they could honestly be top of the league. And the thing is, as you get better, and I mentioned this earlier and didn't even say it, but as you get better at defending the talent that the Bengals have, right? That means you get better at defending the talent that the Chargers have, the talent that the Bills have, the talent that the Chiefs have, right? The talent that the Rams, right? The Rams have, the talent that Green Bay has, right? Those high-powered offenses, Tampa Bay, another one, right? Those high-powered offenses, that's where you're gonna see, okay, I think this defense is gonna come in handy. That's why I'm not too mad about the Ravens picking up defense this year, because we saw a step back on the defensive end. But I think at the same time, some of that was injury and some of that was just miscommunication, guys not being in the right places. So I think honestly, I think this is going to be a good defense, and I'm excited. Flock Nation Speaks episode, what we on, 7? I think we on 7. Episode 7 coming out tomorrow. Make sure that you check it out real quick. I know everybody's probably wondering about my name. I forgot to change it before I came on, but it's actually a joke that we always do, kind of jokey names over at the other podcast that I do, the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about all things professional wrestling. So that's why this joke is in the name for me. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comments. What do you think about the Kyle Fuller signing, man? I think it's huge. I had a Colts fan reach out to me, one of my really good friends, and he was like, I wish we was going, I thought we was going to get him. Then going, I thought he was going to be, I thought he was coming to the Colts. I wish we could have got him. So, it's a big signing. It's huge. And I think, the Ravens really been trying to put together a really good defense, especially when it comes to the secondary. And I think it's for the simple fact of what Joe Burrow did to us last season. Regardless, forget the injuries at this point, right? What Joe Burrow did against us shouldn't have happened, right? Number one, shouldn't have happened to begin with, but we're going to make sure that it don't happen again. So as always, hope you guys enjoyed. I want to talk about the schedule tomorrow in the next episode, and I might hit a little bit more on this too to see what we got. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys on that next one. Until next time.